There we go.
Ready, Freddie?
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining in today, launch day one of reFOHcus month. My name is Simone. I am the wellness ambassador of sorts for FO Health, and honored to be here for the first week, really. So thank you, Lauren and Alex, who's not here right now, but for having me and for always supporting me, and I'm super excited. So today, as some of you guys may know, we are talking about mindfulness in movement. And I wanted to kind of get, before we jumped in, I wanted to get what that meant to you or what that looks like to you. Because for me, I think when we hear mindfulness and then we hear movement, we think yoga, right? Or we think, something very standard. But I think that we can, if we take apart what that notion means to us, it becomes something very simple, right? It becomes movement within our breath, where we're putting our breath, It becomes even how we breathe, or how long, how extensive our breath is, right? And so when we talk about meditation and movement, what does that mean to y'all? Something short, sweet, whatever it means, but I'd like to hear that.
For me, it's moving with intention.
Mm-hmm. And what is intention for you, though? Like focus, is that direction? Is that speed, right?
It can mean different things in different times, so long as you're just bringing focus to what it is that you're doing. So paying careful attention to every aspect of what you're doing.
I like that. Every aspect, yes, exactly. A holistic way of approaching, right? What about you, Rachel? What do you think?
I think making sure that, not wasting your energy, making sure that, all movement or all energy spent is spent, moving in a forward trajectory or a positive kind of way, doing something, and not just wasted sprawling everywhere.
Right. No, I love that, the conservation of the energy, right? I think, like you said, Lucinda, the intention, right, is how much and where you're putting that energy in, like you're saying, Rachel. So that's a really good point. What about you, Danny? What do you think?
For me, I think it's staying centered and just trying to because I feel like sometimes a lot of things feel very chaotic and I can tend to react. So mindfulness for me is staying centered and making sure that what I'm doing is good for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, totally. It's about finding what the recenter looks like for you. And that could mean again, hi, sweetie, a moment of breath, a moment of clarity. Hi. She's too early. Got it. Understood. Thanks, Danny. What about you, Tracy?
I feel like for me, it's really just acknowledging where my starting point and what my intention, again, where I am heading, but it's, especially for me, it's acknowledging where I'm starting from and what I have to offer to that moment in that time, and then using that intentionally and effectively and efficiently to move.
Absolutely. No, that's great. Perfect. What about you, Lauren? You want to jump in?
Yeah. Being mindful is just being aware, right? Aware of how the aftermath of the effects, aware of my intention behind the decisions that I'm making. So just having, an understanding of the big picture.
Yes, I love that. Yes, exactly. And so I wanted to invite a couple of practices today that I want you to kind of personalize, right? Really make your own. But these are some of the things I think that help us to recenter, to realign and refocus, right? On the moment, the very moment that we're experiencing when we need to be mindful, right? And then even within a movement, how do we incorporate the breath and breath movement and being mindful of our breath to then enhance this experience when you're moving, whether that be yoga, right? Whether that be taking your walk, whether that be stretching in your bed when you're rolling over, whatever that looks like for you. And so one of the first things that I really love to do is a body scan, right? So whenever I do a body scan, a lot of the time I'm a Reiki practitioner, so chakras are always on my mind, right? And I'm always going through the chakras. And so I find that though what I can give to my clients to even take with them, which is really cool, is that same notion, right? So maybe you're not putting like Reiki energy there, but you're putting your loving energy right there, right? You're connecting with yourself. You're feeling the breath. You're feeling it. That's mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is essentially a shift in consciousness, and it's an awareness, like Tracy said, right? How are you tapping into the powers that you already have, right? But just realigning them so that they work and they navigate, where they need to go, right? Where's your direction? So body scans are simply, and we can even do one now, right? So wherever you are, just take a moment to kind of relax, like take your your shoulders away from your ears, allowing your shoulders to fall down your back, take the arch out of your spine, allow your stomach muscles to relax, and either close or take your eyes down so that they're slightly parted, but take a deep breath here, starting from your lower belly, traveling up towards your ribs, expanding at your chest, maybe taking up towards your heart, right? And then exhale, releasing everything down. Let's take another one like that. Inhaling from your root, from your lower belly, expanding it out, coming up towards your ribs, right? And then exhaling everything down. Now, with your eyes still closed, as you continue to breathe in that way, take a scan of your body. So maybe starting from the top or from the bottom, wherever you are, but really feeling where the tension may lie. Feeling where there's any crooks or bounds or breath limitations. And as you exhale each time, think about how you can release that tightness, that tension around
the family sitting at the couch.
How can you repel distraction and just have a moment for your body, for this breath? And then you're doing this scan. When you meet a moment, a glass ceiling of the breath, let's say you breathe in and you can't take it past your chest, take a moment and breathe then bigger and wider into that blockage, embracing it, loving that blockage, acknowledging and collaborating with it. Yes, I see you. Yes, this is where we are. And yes, we can push through this. Right? And then when you're exhaling again, releasing everything down to the ground, down, out, dissipating into the ether, no longer on you, in you, weighing you down, right? And let's all take one more deep inhale, doing the same thing, making this breath bigger and wider and grander than ever before. And then slowly and gently exhaling everything out. Taking both hands over your palms and then slowly blinking your eyes open. And then allowing your hands to fall. Right? So how do we feel? Is everybody okay? Yeah, good. Take some time to kind of awaken from that, right? But I think that that is one of the easiest things that we can invite into our daily practice, right? Just a body scan. This is just like a conversation within the body, right? How are you doing? You know, just like I asked you guys this morning, how you doing? How you feeling? You know, your body is gonna tell you, you know, she's gonna volunteer that information, I promise, right? But it's about listening to her, right? And taking a moment and breathing air into those tough spaces, you know, and then I invite you to start this practice in the beginning of your day, right? Because once you start moving throughout your day, that tension kind of settles into the crevices, you know, it really finds its way down in there, and then it's harder to release it. Like Rachel, you see how you're like, you know, doing the stretching and stuff. That's so good, right? Because it's like, yeah, get it out, you know, get it out early in the morning so that you're able to then increase the amount of movement and awareness and breath that you have within your day, right? Okay, awesome. For those of you joining in, hey, hello, I'm Simone. We're doing some body scanning. That's just a really good mindfulness movement practice. And so the next thing that we can kind of lead into, right, is I'm sure some of you guys have heard what pranayama means. So in yoga, pranayama essentially means life force energy, the extension of your life force, the extension of the breath, right? So think about when you're in yoga, thinking about how you have to have a certain breath or a certain pattern or cycle or rhythm to your breath to be able to move through the rhythms and the movements of the practice, right? So thinking about what that means for you, right? So if we break down the word pranayama, prana means life force energy, and life force energy is anything that drives through you, right? It's your energy, it's your breath, however you identify with that, right? It is a source of life. And ayama means to extend or to elongate, right? And so together they mean breath extension, breath control. And so I don't really love the word control because it kind of denotes that, you know, you have to control it and you need to move it. And there's a lot more free flowing energy, I think, to pranayama, especially if you think about in the context of yoga. So what I want to invite us to do now is to practice the Ujjayi breath, right? So the Ujjayi breath is the fire breathing breath. It's actually directly translated to one who is victorious, or the victory breath, which I think is kind of cool in the grand scheme of things, right? Because if you think about what this breath or what, you know, that life force is supposed to do for you in a yoga practice, or then translated into your own life. What is a breath? What is mindfulness? What is movement supposed to do? It's supposed to realign and recenter and refocus you, right? So the Ujjayi breath, again, the lion's breath, it sounds audibly like a soft snoring noise. I like to call it the ocean breath. It sounds a little bit better that way. But think about what the ocean sounds like, right? That like the waves and like that ebb and flow when you like listen outside of your balcony, you know, and it's that like really peaceful sound. Think about that, and then think about making that with your body, right? So I want us all to hold our left or right palm up in front of us, kind of like a mirror. And I want you to imagine that you are you're fogging up a mirror, right? Like, so inhale and then exhaling into the hand as if you were fogging up the mirror, right? With that same deep inhalation and exhalation that we had before, but just think about that notion. So inhaling and exhaling into your hand, right? So let's do that a couple of times until you get comfortable. It's kind of awkward, but that's okay. We can do that together. Imagining the sound of the ocean, right? So in through the nose, out through the mouth, allowing the air to pass through the back of your throat like a soft snoring noise, right? So now I want us to close, still with our hands up, close our mouths and do that same breath. Inhale and out through the nose this time, right? Feeling that breath on the back of our throats, feeling the deep evenness of the inhale and the exhale, creating balance within your body, right? I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I'm gonna try to be louder here. So I'm inhaling And I'm exhaling in the back of my throat, deep Ujjayi breath. This allows the breath to move through the body, allowing fluidity and flexibility in every part of your body, right? It's balancing that mind, body, soul feeling. Okay, and so I want us to now drop our hands, place them in between our laps, but with that same breath, try to see if you can embrace that breath, right? If you can fill up, again, starting from your root, we're traveling up towards our ribs, and then even if you can get up towards your heart center, right? Using that same Ujjayi breath. So go ahead and get your last little breaths out, like inhale, exhale through your mouth so that you feel comfortable and fluid. And then whenever you're ready, begin your Ujjayi breath, inhaling deep, big through your belly, traveling up. Whenever you feel that you need to exhale, no problem. Exhale through your mouth, through your nose, through the back of your throat, a soft, snoring, ocean-like sound. You should begin to feel this peaceful, very relaxing. Do it with me. Inhale. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Think about the sound of the ocean, giving and receiving this openness and release. Let's take a few more Ujjayi breaths here, grounding yourself in this moment, in this practice. Bringing yourself slowly back to the present moment. Again, scanning your body, feeling how this breath has increased fluidity and flow, balance within your body. Good. And as everyone begins to kind of come back, I want a few of us to share, if that will be okay, what that felt like for you, or if you got anything that you wanted to share with everyone, or yeah.
Well, my cat came to say hi in the middle of it all.
She's like, good energy. I smell it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
I feel like I make a lot of sounds in my day-to-day life just as a person. And so the more like vocal of the breathing was a really cool experience.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And that's such a good point too, Rachel. I think that we a lot of time think when something is like meditative, right, or recentering, it's supposed to be very like quiet and very, you know, like almost secretive and very hush hush. But I think that we're, you know, us as human beings, like you said, we take up space, we take up noise, and so many things, you know, I think outside of like this quiet hush hush distract us, right? Like you said, like you were able to, I saw when your cat came in because you said hi, and then you were able to kind of go back into that moment, you know, and that's what it's about. I think it's taking those noises and distractions, yes, as that, you know, okay, diverting your attention, but being able to then not be taken out of that moment of awareness for yourself, I think is a really great balance to have. So thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Anybody else? How do you feel?
This is Tracy. I felt like this grounding really created a grounding. So like it really created like a really good sort of pipe. This is kind of what it felt like, right through from my root straight through.
Yeah.
Just a really great core grounding that helped,
Awesome.
that it did for me.
Awesome, great. Thank you for sharing. And that's another great point. I think that a lot of us operate off of a logical mind, right? Some of us are mothers, some of us are business owners, right? We run, you know, we go to work and we do all these things, we wear all these different hats. And I think that it's important to incorporate some type of grounding into your day, but I think it's even better when you can kind of, I'm a work smarter, not harder type of gal, right? I think that we all are in some degree, right? When we try to kind of like kill two birds, one stone, three birds, one stone, lots of stones, right? When we can say, okay, I'm moving, I'm breathing, and I'm grounding all in one practice, perfect. I can now cross off 3 things off of my to-do list, you know what I mean, for the day. And I feel good about that. I feel productive, but then I just feel good energetically, you know? So that's a really great point. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tracy. Yeah. Is anybody else? We got some new faces in here. Hi, Marian. How are you? Everybody good? Okay. Oh, you want to share, Marian? Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I found the unmute button.
Okay.
But I enjoyed the breathing. I've not heard of the dragon breath or the ocean breath before. And then when you were talking about the sound, or at least we're gonna do that. So I was going back and forth between with the mouth open versus closing, so I can kind of feel the difference.
Right.
I'm really trying to understand, like, you know, I guess this series in I'm gonna say it wrong, Reiki.
Reiki, yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. So I saw it, I was like, Lauren, what is this? I need to like know more. So thank you.
You're in the right place. Yeah, no, that's great. And I'm glad that you are playing around with it too. And again, seeing what feels good for you. Because again, these practices are for you to kind of have a template, right? Like a skeleton of just some great suggestions that you can incorporate. But I think when you make them your own, and you can kind of just continuously weave them into your day, and it doesn't feel like this whole separate pattern, it's just more attainable, right? It's more achievable, you know, and it can become something habitual. So thank you for sharing that, Marian. Welcome. Glad you're here. If anybody else wants to share, jump in. But if not, I want to do one last little practice if we have some time. Lauren, we good on time? We're good. Awesome. Okay. I have one more little practice. If everyone wouldn't mind getting up. Oh, don't hate me. I know it's Monday, but we got to get up. And Danny, we can incorporate baby girl right here. She'll love this. It'll be great. Okay. So we are going to start up because then we'll come back sitting. But essentially, I want us to take us through that Ujjayi breath, just doing some some stretches, right? And so sun salutation A, right, in yoga is just a very simple, very starter type of stretch. And so essentially, I hope you guys can see me here. But so essentially, I'm just gonna take you through the hand motions, but you're inhaling, raising both arms up, right? Slowly looking towards, maybe you can see me better, looking towards your thumbs with your gaze, your head's back, your throat is exposed, and your inhale is big here. And then when you exhale, you're releasing everything down, your neck goes down, you're folding, you're hinging at the hips, right? You're allowing everything to fold. Maybe even taking a straddle here, so taking your feet out wide, taking a ragdoll, right? Bending your knees here, right? And then slowly repeating, right? So inhaling vertebrae by vertebrae, coming straight up, taking that ujjayi breath, right? That big breath. And then out through your mouth, exhaling down. Again, maybe even taking a ragdoll, swaying from side to side, bending at your hips. And then inhaling again, just feeling this fluidity of movement, this slow unfolding and unblossoming of your body, being gentle and intentional with your breath, right? And as you feel your body opening and extending, where is that breath taking you? How long or how short, right? Wherever you are, take one more cycle, and then we'll meet back in our seats. Slow and beautiful breath, ladies. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And as we get back to our seats, we're gonna chat, but we're still gonna be moving, right? So we're gonna go right into joint movements, rotating your wrists. All of my bartender queens, we know how important this is, right? Yeah, it's just going your wrist, and then even around your neck, right? I started to see you, Rachel, doing that, and that's such a great thing, to stretch your neck every day. But when you're stretching your neck, again, feeling the breath move from in. So maybe even, so stopping your wrist, because I want to see if you guys think that this works, right? So taking your head first to the right side and inhaling as you go back, right? So inhaling, big open breath, extending your throat open, right? As you come to the center. And then when you reach the left side, then exhaling, taking your head straight down, looking towards your feet. And then inhaling as you come to the right side again. Making this a long circle breath, an intentional breath. When you reach the left side, exhale, looking down, and continuing that movement. Again, being mindful that you're being gentle with a very delicate area that is your neck and chest, but also that the breath can take your neck in a fluid movement, in a movement that serves your body, that doesn't harm or create more tension within the body, right? It's all about that realignment, you know? And again, with the wrists, right? Whatever feels good to you, whatever direction, in and out, up and down, you know? And whenever you come back to the center with your neck, even replacing your neck movements with ankle movements, slowly rotating your ankles left and right, up and down, side to side. Asking yourself, are you incorporating breath into these movements, right? Am I inhaling and then starting a circle and then exhaling? And then, you know what I mean? Like it can be some type of cycle is what I want to invite, right? And yeah, I think that those are some of the things that I incorporate in my daily movements, even if I'm like, okay, I don't have time for yoga, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, right? Let's speak realistically. So if you have nothing, you always have 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes, right? Whether that be 5 minutes in the bathroom, or 5 minutes when you're on your door, before you get out of your car, when you're in changing, your uniform, whatever it is, right? You have 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes can be taken apart to serve you in your entire day, right? Like what Tracy had brought to the attention before was, how to make something yours, right? We were talking about how to weave these practices into your day. So I'm interested to see, as we come to a conclusion, ladies, what would you take to then put into your daily routine? How does any of these resonate or, feel for you? And what you could maybe share with a friend or a family member to help them, somebody who's in your direct space. So I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah, all of it is super great. I really like the thinking about it, and I've never really had anybody just super quick give me this little like 1, 2, 3, 4 routine. Like,
Sure.
let's do this, let's get it done.
Yeah.
Everything's always so drawn out. So to
Right.
see like these are the highlights and like let's get it done. I really appreciate the efficiency, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. What about anybody else? How do you guys feel? Anybody would taking some of these to kind of like weave into their day, or is it give you another idea for something else?
So for me, I feel like this is something that I would use very, very regularly, like every day, even if I felt fine, like just to kind of keep the routine going.
Absolutely.
Oh, baby, you gotta be quiet. Sorry.
That's okay. And it would be cool to even involve the kids too. Yeah.
Yes. So usually when they're young, they're like 6 and almost 3. So I'm in that terrible 2 stage.
Yep.
So sometimes we can just get so like busy up here that they get like so anxious. And the best thing is to say, let's all take a deep breath.
Yes.
And we all take a couple deep breaths, but like this is also something that they love the deep breathing. The deep breathing stops the train from like running off the track.
That's right. No, I love that. And I think that you as a mother should be so proud that you are introducing that so early on to the kids, because thinking about like the people that we adults, right, see, and you're like, man, if you just knew how to like take a second, who would you be, right, as a person? So that's something to mention for sure. That's an awesome thing to incorporate into your family. For sure. No, we love it. See? Brett's bringing it down for everybody. Thanks for sharing, babe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody else? How you guys feeling? No?
I just think it's a really great way to introduce people to something that they might not typically or do, or something that they feel intimidated by. Because I know that I had never done meditation or anything prior to meeting you, and then I was like, oh, I'll go. I checked out one of your classes, and I was like, this is actually something that I could potentially see many people doing. But back to Rachel's point, it's like to the point, cliff notes, exactly what I need, and I can reciprocate it during my own time.
Right. Thank you. Yes, that's what it's about. It's about realistic, holistic. We don't have time to sift through manuals, guys. You know what I mean? Like, let's get this work so we can like live and thrive in our best lives. That's what it's about for sure. Absolutely. Well, last call. Does anyone have anything, how they're going to incorporate anything in their day? I'm just so grateful that this was such a great group today, and that everyone, I love intimate spaces, right? I love when we can all kind of like have a moment, to step out of our days and like check in, and get something that I can take, for the rest of my week or whatever. But yeah, So if nobody has anything else, I'm going to pass it back to Lauren. Again, I'm so grateful that all of y'all tuned in today, and hope to see you in another class soon.
Yeah. Do you want to, before I take over, do you want to just talk to them about the class that you have on Wednesday and Friday?
Yes. Okay. So Wednesday's going to be pretty cool because I think this is another thing that a lot of people haven't really been introduced to before. And so we're going into aura protection. So for those of us who don't really know what an aura is it's essentially an outer extension of your energy, right? So it's kind of like the golden light that an angel kind of radiates in, right? It's the light and the energy and the frequency as to which people can receive you, right? But also how they can interject, or like you know, like a frequency, right? Somebody can come and kind of like interrupt that frequency. It's the same thing essentially, right? If we think about ourselves as beings, as these complex systems, it's very easy for us to be targeted and you know, put off track, right? Think about all the things that are going on in the world right now, right? A lot of things are geared towards, you know, tarnishing our energies and really throwing us off of our natural frequencies and rhythms. So what I want to introduce is a protection meditation, essentially, right? So the same way that we're able to do these body scans and really evaluate where the tension is, this meditation, it's more like a force field meditation, right? It's about kind of veiling yourself with this protective layer, right? This aura cleansing and then regeneration, right? So that you feel better equipped and more empowered to be fearless and to face these, you know, forces that essentially are trying to work against you, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and then what that looks like again in a cool little nutshell that we can incorporate in our daily lives. So that'll be really cool. And then on Friday, oh my God, this is my favorite. I think this is Lauren's favorite too, because every time I say it, she starts laughing. See? It's the bucket meditation. Listen, right? Like on Fridays are for buckets, you know, Fridays are for like, listen, it's Friday, like I made it, you know, that's what it's about. And so for me, I have a ritual on Fridays. It was really more when I was working a 9 to 5, like Monday through Friday. But it was like I had met a point in my week, right, where I was just like, perfect. I don't have to give that much of a fuck, right, about a lot of stuff. And then I really took that into my own world, into my own thought process. And I was like, man, if I'm sorry, Danny, shoot, there's kids. If I gave less of a crap, right, about, you know, so many things, how could I create space for the things that really mean things for me and that invite reciprocity, right? So for example, you know, we wake up every day and you essentially have to give like a limit to how many fucks that you want to give in a day, right? This is just a little sneak peek of Friday. Like, so every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm giving 3 fucks today. One about myself, one about my family, and one about my business, you know? And you can decide what that means for you, but anything outside of those fucks, you really got to reevaluate it, and you take everything on a meter, and it's like, is this helping me or is this hurting me? And you become this leader, this driver in the seat of your car. You know what I mean? You stop kind of sitting on the passenger and you're like, all right, I'm driving this sucker and this is where we're going and this is how we're going to get there, you know? And being able to reroute and renavigate is great, but really making the decision to how far you're going to go, you know what I mean? How much gas you're putting in this figurative car, really taking control of your life in that way and releasing the things that you don't have time to give a fuck about, you know? So I made a meditation of sorts. It's actually pretty funny. And we're just going to release the things that we can't give a fuck about, girl, you know, and we're just going to create space for the things that we do. So yeah, that's the rest of the week. We're going to have some other little bites on the reFOHcus page. And then you guys know where to find me. You know, if you guys want to hit me up on Instagram or anything and chat and like, I mean, whatever, let's do it. Let's do it. So yeah.
Excellent. And then I won't take up too much more of your time because I know everyone has things to do, but just wanted to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you to Singani63 who sponsored this week, and just wanted to kind of mention one of their initiatives they have going on. So for those of you who don't know, Singani is the spirit of Bolivia. It is distilled utilizing muscat of Alexandria grapes, and it's currently classified as brandy, which is incorrect because of how different those two spirits are. So we encourage and we ask all of you to go to recognizesingani.com to support the cause, really providing that spirit of Bolivia with its own category, properly identifying what it is. Legislation will be passed September 1st. It'll be temporary category, and during this period of time of 2 months, they'll be open to feedback as to whether or not it should be a permanent category. So please go to recognizesingani.com and sign the petition to get Singani some recognition it deserves. And one more thing, there's a prize associated with some of the classes that we will be offering this week. All that's required is to attend one class. So if you check out our post on Saturday, we will be posting a recap of the programming that was offered, 2 recipes that we will be demoing Wednesday and Friday, as well as the prize, which is a personalized signed copy of Spirits of Latin America by Ivy Mix. So whoever the winner is, she will personally sign a copy to them, which is really nice. Yeah, and if you haven't read it, I recommend reading it. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of literature. But yeah, if you aren't able to catch the additional classes, please feel free to go on our website, fohealth.org /reFOHcus, reFOHcus, where we will post the recorded videos. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at FO Health or Simone, and we will be happy to answer them for y'all. All right.
Yes,
excellent. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate y'all very much. And I hope to see y'all again during the next few weeks.
Yes, y'all take care. Bye.
Right. Bye, everyone.